Hey everybody, it's Zach here from the Ed Boys, and today we're talking about Tormented Demons, a mob that you may recognize from back in the day. These demons are a grindable mob that can only be fought after you complete the While Guthix Sleeps quest, a classic Grandmaster quest that first made its way into RuneScape back in 2008. The quest itself is sick. It took me like 2.5, 3 hours to finish. There's some pretty cool fights, like a couple of Tormented Demons, as well as this balanced elemental, which I kind of wish that this was a repeatable boss. This is a very dope fight. They even kill off some of our favorite NPCs. We'll avoid spoilers, but I'll let you know that some of your friends in this photo will die, which is incredibly sad, but what's even worse is the NPCs they replaced them with. What the fuck? The coolest part of the quest was after touching the Stone of Jas, though. Look at that 255 in each combat stat. Where can I get this in potion form? After completing the quest, you can make your way back to the ancient Guthix temple to fight Tormented Demons. This temple's a bit of a hefty run. The best way to get there at the moment is using the Tears of Guthix teleport, which you can find on the Ring of Dueling. From there, you need to use the Sapphire Lantern on one of these light creatures, and it'll take you into the chasm, which really just has one path that you take all the way to the demons. They are very packed at the moment since it's only been like 1 day since they came out, but they do respawn pretty quick, so you only have to find one to fight. It is worth noting that if you die in here after the quest, your gravestone will be down there, and you do need a second Sapphire Lantern to get back into the chasm. The Tormented Demons are very similar to fighting demonic gorillas, which makes a lot of sense. Demonic gorillas were literally designed to be the OSRS version of these Tormented Demons. The demons use overhead prayers, so you will need multiple attack styles. Overall, they're fairly weak defense-wise, so all three combat styles are viable, unlike gorillas, who have a very high magic defense. When using melee on the Tormented Demons, they are weak to crush, then stab, and it looks like they actually have a pretty solid slash defense. They switch their overhead prayer when you do about 25% of their health bar, which ends up being a little bit more chill than demonic gorillas. The demons can use all three attack styles, but they'll only be using one at a time. The magic attack is a small fireball, the range attack is like a little bone claw being thrown at you, and then the melee attack, he's gonna swipe at you, and of course the demon will walk towards you while using the melee attack, making it very easy to see that he's gonna swipe. So if you step back from him and he follows you, he's not using magic or range. Occasionally, the demons will use a special attack where he binds you in place and then sends out a couple of fire bombs. The bind will be done like right before they land, so you just spam click one of the safe tiles to get out of this. If not, you take up to like 40 damage. When he uses the special attack is when he's also going to switch his attack style. In other words, you only need to switch your overhead prayer after he uses that spec. Also, after the spec, his shield goes down for one auto attack, and this is a great time to send an attack from a hard-hitting slow weapon like a Saradomin Godsword spec. So overall, the demons are pretty easy to fight, being similar to demonic gorillas, but a little bit less effort than gorillas. The Tormented Demons do hit harder, to be fair, if you do make a mistake. In fact, the Tormented Demons are pretty high level overall. Back in 2008, when Tormented Demons were first released in RS2, the demons apparently had 400 health, while the ones that we have here have 600 health. RS2 would eventually get overloads, chaotic weapons, and turmoil, which is an insanely good prayer, but at the time of release, the demons were a bit weaker than the demons we are fighting. That fact on its own is not a good or a bad thing until we talk about the drops a little bit more. First of all, here's the crowdsourced drop rates from the OSRS wiki. This is not the confirmed rate from Jagex, but rather these numbers come from like loot trackers from a ton of players who have their runelight linked to the wiki, so they tend to be pretty close. The Tormented Synapse are used to upgrade a couple weapons into some very powerful Demon Bane weapons. Once you get a Synapse, you will have to take it over to Kuradel, who is the Slayer Master in Shiloh Village, and she will give you a book which will teach you how to actually upgrade your weapons. The only one I've upgraded so far was the Arclight to an Emberlight, and even though later in the video I might not be talking super highly of these weapons, the Emberlight has been really sick so far. Even just the fact that I'm not really going to have to charge my Arclight again is already a pretty good thumbs up, to be fair. As for the other unique, the Bone Claw, you do need to use 2 of them together to actually get wieldable Bone Claws, and then that's going to be a special attack weapon that lands somewhere in between the Dragon Dagger and the Dragon Claws. So it's not an upgrade to Dragon Claws, more of a mid-tier option for it. Let's bring it back to the old Tormented Demons for just a moment. These bad boys dropped Dragon Claws at a 1 in 250 rate. That's full Dragon Claws, not half of them like with the Bone Claw drop. So it's like 5 times more rare to finish your Bone Claws than it was to get Dragon Claws, as well as the new Tormented Demons have 50% more health than the old ones. In other words, it takes significantly longer to get your claws from Tormented Demons, and they're not as good. Now we have the added Synapse drops as well, which can be used for any one of 3 Demon Bane weapons. These weapons are best in slot, which is a step up from the Bone Claws being not quite best in slot. It's still very rare to get the Tormented Synapse drop, but at least the weapons are very powerful. Some demonic bosses would include Krill Tutsaroth, the Abyssal Sire, Duke Succulus, Skotizo, even demonic gorillas. Most of these monsters don't necessarily drop a lot of best in slot. We have the Duke has the Magus Ring and his overall good GP an hour, and to be fair, demonic gorillas, they're pretty good as of late thanks to the upcoming update that's going to be using Amulets of Torture. And of course, these Demon Bane upgrades are very good right here at Tormented Demons as well, but the more players that get that upgrade, the more Tormented Demons they'll kill, the faster the supply will catch up, and eventually the price of the Synapse will drop. There's a couple consumables on the Tormented Demon drop table that are pretty cool. There's a Smoldering Gland, a Smoldering Pile of Flesh, and a Smoldering Heart. The Gland will regen your prayer points over time, the Pile of Flesh will heal up some hit points, and then the Smoldering Heart has a nice little stat boost that it'll give you. The Smoldering Heart would be even cooler if it was a tradable item that you could potentially use as like a 1-dose strong stat boost at other bosses. As of now, though, it is untradeable. Overall, my first impressions on the Tormented Demons is that they're stuck in a strange place in between, like mid-game and like high-level stuff. You have to complete a Grandmaster quest with a lot of prerequisites. They're level 450 and have 600 health, and it's a very rare drop to get their uniques. I didn't even mention that multiple demons can attack you at once, and they'll use different attack styles. So once the room's not as packed with people, it is going to be a little bit more difficult to grind out a lot of kills. So that all adds up like an end-game grind. Slow kills, not great loot until you get the unique, and I think that makes sense since you do have to do While Guthix Sleeps to even start fighting them in the first place. But the uniques are not endgame gear. The Bone Claws were literally designed to bridge a gap towards best in slot, and then the Demon Bane weapons are very strong, but there's not that many tough endgame demons that you would feel you need these expensive upgrades for. This does leave room for a future demon boss that you could use the weapons at. In other words, the uniques are not going to be expensive forever though. The rarity is going to keep the supply fairly low, but the demand isn't going to be too high since they're not massive upgrades. As of right now, the uniques are pretty expensive, so get them while they're hot. I think Jagex needs to either make the drops much more common to get or buff the items that they drop so that they're even stronger. I don't really have a problem with them filling in certain niches and not having like a whole brand new best in slot game-breaking weapon every time, so I do think the solution is rather making those drop rates a little bit better. These items are just too rare. While Guthix Sleep is a dope quest, and the Tormented Demons are a lot of fun to fight, but they're not rewarding enough in the long run. Even if you think a fight is fun to do, you're probably going to find other content in the game where you can make more money, get better upgrades, and also have fun fighting those other bosses. I wouldn't be that shocked if there were some significant changes to Tormented Demons over the next couple weeks. What do you all think of the new mob? Do you like the fight? Do you think Tormented Demons are pretty cool? Have you gotten one of the rare uniques yet? If you enjoyed the video or you just got some useful information, be sure to like and subscribe for more content. That is it, everybody. Thank you very much for watching, and best of luck on your Tormented Demons grind.